This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the VP of Marketing and Corporate Development for Energy Fuels, Mr. Curtis Moore. Curtis, how are you?
I'm doing well, Gerardo. It has been a bit. Great to catch up with you.
Let's get right into it. You had some news today, which was very well received. You announced that Energy Fuels is now debt-free. You were keen to include in the headline that this is unique in the uranium sector. Can you provide some details? How'd you get here? And then let's talk about some of the many things going on.
Yeah, happy to. We're extremely excited to be debt-free. Back in 2012, we incurred some debt. It was $22 million Canadian, which, with the exchange rate, it's about $16 million. We were paying about 8.5% interest per year on that. That contributed to, money we had to spend every year. And so over the last year, we decided we're going to do what we can to retire that debt. So what we were doing is that we were, during up days, we were hitting our ATM a little bit to raise money to pay that debt off. So, we did that, and we've been able to raise enough money to pay it all off. And so today is the culmination of all that, where we are now debt free. And that is, that does distinguish us from several other, not just uranium companies, but, other natural resource companies that are actually incurring more debt. We think that puts us in a highly beneficial position.
It also distinguishes you from every single government in the world right now.
Very true, very true.
Let's talk government, because as much as I like to throw jabs at them, there are, as you highlight in the release today, a number of opportunities that could result in significant cash flow, and not just in the uranium space, but we've talked rare earth elements before. We've touched on vanadium, and there is definitely bipartisan support from everyone that I speak with in the U.S. government to establish a more forceful domestic supply chain and a bigger presence. Obviously, we're very dependent here in the U.S. for most of our energy needs. What can you tell me? What are you hearing out there, Curtis?
Yeah, so you're exactly right. On the uranium side, there is bipartisan support for the creation of a U.S. Uranium Reserve, quite a bit like the Strategic Petroleum Reserve that we have in the U.S. The government would like to create a Strategic Uranium Reserve. Now, it does take funding and it takes appropriations, and so we're working with our allies in Congress to get this done. You all know that the politics seems to be dominated by the election that's coming up, and appropriations are a little bit dysfunctional these days. But we're hopeful that our allies in Congress are able to put this through. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, the money that's required to create this reserve is a pittance. We're talking $150 million per year, which to the U.S. government is nothing. To us, it's a game changer. And, Energy Fuels is the largest uranium producer in the United States. We have more capacity than any other company, more in-ground resources than any other company, more expertise, proven track record. So we think that we will be one of the main beneficiaries of that. As you alluded to as well, there's a lot of support for other critical mineral initiatives. Trump put out a executive order last week on critical minerals, and we're hopeful that does result in some good tangible support, not just for uranium, but also rare earths and vanadium.
There are reports associated with that executive order that are due, I believe, here within the next 45 to 60 days. Is Energy Fuels involved at all, if you can say, in the discussions with the people that you're familiar with in government to contribute?
Yeah, I mean, we are, certainly getting onto the radar screen of, everybody in government, not just on uranium, but also on rare earths. And I think that the important thing to realize in rare earths that a lot of rare earth feeds, ores that come out of mines or other feeds, they have uranium in them, or they have thorium, or they have radionuclides in them. And so those need to be handled, and those need to be removed or recovered before those rare earth concentrates can go on for further processing. And that's really the role that we think we can at least initially play, is to process these rare earth feeds, remove the uranium and recover it and sell that into the nuclear fuel cycle, but then produce a rare earth concentrate that can go on for further separation. And the separation, we don't have any separation capabilities in the United States, but hopefully we do in the next few years. And that would be certainly a place for us to send this concentrate. But again, we think that we can take the initial sort of baby steps toward reestablishing some semblance of a rare earth supply chain in the United States. And a lot of these other proposals out there, particularly in the government, they're going to need a facility like White Mesa to process their feeds and recover the uranium and dispose of the thorium and that sort of thing. So that's really the role that we think we can play right off the bat.
It sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like Energy Fuels has multiple options when it comes to rare earths, right? It sounds like you have, private sector options, but obviously you also have the government option there. And it's interesting to me that you have to be behind the scenes entertaining several ways to monetize in the most efficient way the unique position that Energy Fuels is in, right? In regards to processing both uranium and the rare earths.
That's true. And you know what I'll say, what we're doing is that we are approaching this commercially, first and foremost. We're going to go into rare earths on a commercial basis. And we're hopeful that once we show everybody what our capabilities are, then some other government funding might come our way. And they might see that, these guys are actually making it happen and they've actually made it work. Maybe these are the guys that we should be backing in trying to help bringing these capabilities back to the United States. And so, we're kind of in a, prove it mode, I guess you can say. And so we're going to go prove to the world that we can do it. And hopefully that funding comes our way. And, we've even gotten a little bit of funding just recently from the government. We made an announcement a couple of weeks ago that we're working with the Department of Energy and a team from Penn State University on producing rare earths from some coal-based resources. This is like coal ash and some of these, coal byproducts that have rare earths in them. And so there's some technologies that the DOE and others have been working on to concentrate the rare earths in that. Well, those minerals that they concentrate are going to need to be processed somewhere. They have uranium and thorium in them. And so the natural location for that would be the White Mesa Mill. And so, again, I think that you're right. We have lots and lots of options, both commercially and through the government, to make a splash in rare earths.
Let's talk uranium a bit. The uranium bull market that we've all been expecting has long eluded us. I thought 2020 would be the year, and I realize we have a quarter left, right? But I thought this would be the year where the utilities stepped off the sidelines. Do you see any indications that there is more chatter from the utilities, or do you think they're still content to just kind of sit back?
I'll be honest. I have not seen a whole lot recently. I would have thought that we'd have seen something by now. There has been still some uncertainty out there. We just saw that the Russian suspension agreement was signed just yesterday, I believe. And so, the nice thing about the RSA being extended is that it sort of averts a disaster. If we had seen unlimited Russian uranium coming into the United States with, in the scenario where there was no RSA extension, that would have been, really damaging to us.
Right.
But so that certainly sets the stage for a recovery. But there's still lots of Kazakh and Uzbek and other uranium coming into the United States, and and we haven't seen a whole lot from utilities at this point. We'll see what happens. And, we've also understood that, their fuel teams have been, sort of holed up due to COVID and whatnot. But, at the bottom line, though, is that the supply and demand fundamentals continue to be out of whack. We've seen, I don't know what, a whole, tens of millions of pounds of uranium removed from the global market this year due to COVID shutdowns. At some point and at some level, that's going to take effect. And that should result in higher prices. So, we'll see if and when that happens, but in the meantime, we're working on some other initiatives that hopefully generate cash flow at the same time. So we'll see.
Curtis, thank you for the update. A thorough one. I look forward to having you back on as soon as you are able to say more. Stay tuned, right?
Yep, stay tuned. Appreciate it, Gerardo.
Thank you. Bye now.